Hello, welcome to Bell Reads. So today's story is about the princess and the pea. It's a very beautiful story. And shall we start reading? Before moving on to the story, if there is anyone watching the videos without subscribing, please subscribe the video and click on the bell icon to get new updates. Thank you. There was once a young prince who loved going on adventures. He was good at finding treasures. He was very good at rescuing people. And he was very good at fighting dragons. But when the prince came back home, he felt sad. I wish I had someone to share my adventures with, he said to himself. One day he had an idea. I will find someone to marry, he cried. He asked his parents for help. They were the king and the queen after all. I want to get married. So the prince said this to king and the queen. Hearing this, mommy is thinking, at last, his parents were delighted. We will help you find the perfect princess, said the king. The king and queen wrote to every princess in the world. Royal servants set off to deliver the invitation. So here is a princess map made, and based on that, the royal servants are set off to deliver the invitations to each and every princess in the world. Now there is a board in front of the palace. Princess wanted. Dozens of princesses came to the palace to meet the prince. Some came with lots of servants. Some came dripping with diamonds. One even came riding an elephant. The prince tried to tell them about his adventures, but they were only interested in his treasures. They don't seem like real princesses to me, he sighed. Real princesses should want excitement and adventures. The king and queen called their best inventors to a meeting. We need a test, the queen demanded, to find a real princess. The inventors tried all sorts of different tests, but none of their ideas worked. Then one inventor said, I know how to find a real princess. The prince stepped forward. How? He asked. Two servants pulled back an enormous sheet to reveal a very unusual bed. Look at this. With a tower of mattresses. This is the finishing touch, said the inventor. She put a dried pea in the prince's hand. How will this help? Asked the prince, giving back the pea. A real princess notices everything around her, explained the inventor. She'll be able to feel the pea through all these mattresses. The prince invited more princesses to the palace, but none of them passed his test. In the morning, each of them declared, What a comfortable bed. Such a lovely sleep. The prince felt sad again. After a while, the princess stopped coming. The prince seemed too hard to please. The prince gave up hope too. He thought he would never find someone to marry. Then late one night, kaboom! Thunder crashed. Lightning flashed. Rain fell in big fat drops. What was that? Through the noise of the storm, the prince heard a thump on the door. A wet, shivering girl stood on the palace doorstep. I was caught in the storm, said the girl. May I shelter here tonight? The girl's sweet voice charmed the prince. He didn't notice her tangled hair or muddy clothes. You may stay for as long as you like, said the prince. Splish, splish, she's walking. Look at her footsteps. As the girl warmed up, the prince told her all about his adventures. The girl listened to every word. All this talking made the prince feel sleepy. Soon he couldn't keep his eyes open. When the prince woke up, he was alone. The girl had gone. The next morning, the prince stared gloomily at his breakfast. Why not go on another adventure? Asked the queen. That will cheer you up. The prince sighed. He didn't want to go on another adventure all alone. Just then, the girl walked in. The prince jumped up. Where have you been? He asked. After you fell asleep, I looked for a bed, she replied. The one I found was very tall. I had to climb in using a ladder. Oh, said the prince, surprised. How did you sleep? Not very well, answered the girl. I think you need a new bed. That one has a hard lump in the middle. Oh no, the king threw up his hands. The queen fell off her chair. Ow! The prince's face turned pale as he stared at the girl. You are a real princess? He gasped. Now the princess looked surprised too. How did you know? She asked. When the prince told her about the pea, the princess started to giggle. Princess started to giggle. I've been looking for a real prince, she said. I've journeyed from palace to palace looking for a brave prince. The princess explained. Everyone has turned me away except you. The real prince married the real princess the very next day. The prince and the princess never stopped having adventures. They built a museum for all the treasures they found. In the middle, they put the pea in a beautiful crystal case. It may still be there today. Now, that's all for the story. I hope everyone liked it. Now, there is a small note at the end of the book about the author. The book that I'm reading is actually a retelling of the story of Princess and the Pea. The real one, The Princess and the Pea, was written by Hans Christian Andersen in 1835. He was born in Denmark in 1805. He left home at 14 to seek his fortune and became famous all over the world as a writer of fairy tales. So that's all. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.